What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. You can call me whatever you want. Usually, hey, gangly prick, man. Welcome to Sunday. Welcome to Sunday Q&A. Is 75 millimeters a better size for jungle gym bashing? You just got to see, what do you think, chat? What do you think you were looking at first? Those of you that were paying any attention will kind of know, but what do you think you were looking at first, and what do you think you were looking at second there? Let me know in the chat what you think each one of those was. Easy, computer, easy, easy, easy. Why is it open in QuickTime? Hold on. Open with... We don't want this open in QuickTime. Who QuickTime, really? What is this? What are we, in the 1900s? Come on. There we go. Change all. Continue. In the chat, Apache Smoke Wood and Sniper was first. Expander was next. Michael D, Alex Dvornik, Chopper FPV, Bulldog FPV, Razvan, Justin the Guy, Kevin Sumner, Jason Crabtree, Northern Tier, Chomper FPV, Paul McDonald, Stream Elements is here. They have arrived. Ethan W, PJ Abraham, Riot 9, Ram Donko, 661. Who else is here? Steve-O's in the house. Kathy McGibbon. Spammers have arrived already. That was quick. Isaac Mitchell. EE Doc. I think I got everybody. Mr. Huggy. What's up, friends? FPV's here. What's going on this fine Sunday? What's happening with the top of my head? Is it lumpy and dented? Probably. We'll be all right. This is not a guy looks good stream. I'm exhausted. I am feeling better, but I'm still exhausted. This whole sickness shit can go to hell. Maggie got me up this morning to go do yoga. I love yoga, but I hate waking up. So it was a real mixed bag. But I'll do anything for her, to be completely honest. Gladly. But I am feeling a little bit better. I'm just exhausted, man. I'm just all day, every day. I'm just completely exhausted. Like, all I want to do is just go back to sleep. So yeah, I don't know, whatever. I thought exercising was supposed to wake you up. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. They tell you that to just try to get you to exercise. It's nonsense. You heard it here first. Confirmed. Exercise makes you more sleepy. It makes you miserable, but it makes you less fat and stronger. So that's good and more flexible. Apache Smoke. Hey, if you want to talk to and it makes your mouth not work. If you want to talk directly to me, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV into the chat and it'll light up an orange. If you want to support the madness that is trying to be a full-time FPV donkey, head on over to CiottiFPV.com. That's where all of the good ways to support me are. You can do a super chat, but those dirty rats here at YouTube and over at Google will take 30-something%. So you could do it. It's fine. They give me this platform to stream on, but if you don't want 30% of your money to be stolen by the corporate overlords, head on over to CiottiFPV.com. The thing you can do that helps me out the most is to join my Patreon. $3 whole a month, that's only 10 cents a day, will get you in. If you want to get in on the giveaways, tomorrow night, I think, is a giveaway night. It's $5, $10, or $20 tiers. $5 tier enters you to win Tinywhoop and toothpick stuff. $10 a month enters you to win Tinywhoop and 3-inch micro brushless stuff. $20 a month or up puts you into the 5-inch tier to win 5-inch parts. And then if you want to be an ultra super crazy supporter, $30 and up will enter you into all 3 of those giveaways. So you'll be entered into 6 giveaways a month if you do that. Do it, or I'll starve to death. There's a bunch of other ways that you can help me out over there. Affiliate links are a huge help, and they're free, and they only take you like 1 second to do. I have affiliate links to Flywoo, WeBleedFPV, NewBeeDrone. I think I have one for NewBeeDrone. Pretty sure I have one for NewBeeDrone. GetFPV, Amazon. Come on, you know you're ordering stuff on Amazon. Before you check out on Amazon, think about your friends that are creating content here on YouTube for you, because we've all got Amazon affiliate links. Hit our affiliate links before you check out, and we'll get a little part of that shopping cart, and then we'll use it to support ourselves and hopefully not die. There's an Etsy store with a bunch of really cool stickers. There is a Fiverr page where you can work directly with me one-on-one if you want to learn how to build better, tune better, if you want to buy the right parts, or just, generally ask a whole bunch of questions and get one-on-one support. I would have killed to have had that. Look, this one's a magnet. Ooh. I would have killed to have that when I was new, man. I the amount of money that I wasted buying the wrong stuff, digging around the internet for answers, getting the wrong answers because people on Facebook don't know shit about shit. It's insane. Ray subscribed. Welcome, Ray. So yeah, take advantage of that. Save yourself some time and probably money. And yeah, let's do a half an hour session together, or an hour, or whatever you need. I can also help you fly better through the simulator. You get on the sim, I get on the sim, we get into the same room, I can spectate you, you can spectate me, we work on stuff, I give you a bunch of drills to do, and then off you go. Again, all of this stuff that I do here is just like, I came up with it by just sitting down and thinking about like what would have helped me in this hobby. Like, what do I wish that I had in my first few years in this hobby? So yeah, I'm here to help, yo. I'll help you get over the hump. She's out. So, topic today, jungle gym bashing. How do you do it the best? What's today, Sunday? Friday's live stream. I flew around the jungle gym with this 0702 30,000 kV Mobula 6 and one of the Rip Squeaks. I knew I left these rigs out for a reason, and then I put them away because I put shit away. I flew around the jungle gym with this Rip Squeak here, 3-inch 1404, 4S powered, 220-ish gram all-up weight 3-inch rig, and this little, I now refer to these as garden rippers. That's the best sort of name I've heard for these, but it's a tiny little 1S toothpick. These are 2.5-inch props, NewBeeDrone Humming Bee frame, Mobula 6 canopy and Runcam 3 nano camera, and a Acrobee board. It was a great live stream, and I had all the flight footage on there, so maybe check it out. Long story short, this was hands down my least favorite. This was very fun, but you can't, it's too heavy and big and powerful to really get into the little gaps and spots. This basically, you would throw it around the jungle gym and use like the big openings and stuff like that. Fun, but not nearly as fun as the star of the show on Friday, which was my ultimate freestyle Tinywhoop. This has been very specifically developed and built for flying in the house here. I couldn't believe how well this did outside. Today, I brought this Mobula 7 with me that's on 0802, EX 0802 30,000 kV motors. I brought this with me, but the motors were spinning the wrong direction, and it was right before the live stream. So I didn't get to fly this. About an hour ago, I did bring this down to the jungle gym with 4 charged batteries, and we're going to play all 4 of those batteries at some point here on the live stream. And then I flew 1 battery on this little guy. This is very similar to this little fella, but different motors. So this is Mobula 6 and the Meteor 65 frame, same deal. BT 2.0, same deal. Mobula 6 canopy, Runcam 3 nano camera. This actually has a little small antenna. This guy has the Singularity antenna. The big difference between these 2 rigs, though, this little fella has WeBleedFPV 0702 28,500 kV motors with the Gemfan 1.2-inch biblades. This guy has Tinywhoop.com 0802, the heavy ones, the full can durable ones, 30,000 kV motors with these prototype T-motor tri-blades. And this is what you were watching in the intro. This is the full battery that I played you on the intro. And so here's basically how it went. Let me throw the flight footage on, and I'll talk over it. 1, 2, 3. Hold on, what's this? Oh, shit. Okay, so, all right. So the first 2 batteries that I'm going to play you are this Mobula. Oh, hey, also this Mobula 7 rig. This is Mobula 7 ELRS with the motor swapped out to EX 0802 30,000 kV, the 1.6-inch biblades. And then I did a camera swap. This is the Caddx Ant camera on the NewBeeDrone sort of like toothpick canopy, right? Like we've seen this canopy for years now on toothpicks with a regular whip antenna. So that's the rig that you're about to watch. And I was really excited for this. Friday, I was really excited to fly this, and I was super bummed out that the motors were spinning the wrong direction. But then I was just blown away by the little 65. So yeah, I was really excited because this could be better for around the jungle gym because it's got more power. It's certainly not better around the house. I think I'm just desperate to find something that this does well, better than the 65 mil whoops. So yeah, I was really excited to get this out there. So I flew 4 batteries in a row on this today. The first 2 batteries that you're going to see are these Emax 300 mAh little fatty boys that I have changed over to BT 2.0. I have the tape so that they don't slide. They fit a little bit loose in the battery bay. So I have I think it's just a single wrap of electric tape just to get it to fit in the little bay a little bit more snug. So these are a GNB battery. Quad 66 had a bunch of these, found a bunch of these when they were made by GNB, and he swears by these. He's super sad that you can't get them anymore. I took a chance, and I saw that these looked a lot like them, branded by Emax, and I got a bunch. And I'm pretty sure that these are those batteries, because good lord, these outperform every other of these big fat boy batteries that I've ever flown. And it's nice and light because it's 300 mAh. So you're going to see 2 of these batteries back to back here. I just, everything you're about to see was recorded on the Immersion RC Power Play. And I let the power play keep recording after the first battery, and so it'll be static for a second, and I'll plug in the second battery. So that's the first 2 batteries that you're going to see. The next 2, of course, the obvious next question is, hey, what does that weigh? Well, we might as well do weights on all the rigs, from lightest to heaviest. So on Friday, you saw a bunch of the 65 millimeter 0702 rig. That guy is 19.8 grams dry. Also on Friday, you saw this little mosquito rig. This guy is 33.2 grams. And then on Friday, you also saw the Ripsqueak. These are all dry weights, which is 136.5. And then I put a big old battery on this, 4S850 on this guy. All right, so there's the weights from Friday. The weights from today, Mobula 7 ELRS with the Caddx Ant camera, is 25 grams, 24.9. And then this little guy with the 0802 30,000s and the tri-blades is 21.5 grams. So there's all the weights. Here are the batteries. Here's the 300 mAh fatty boy. 8.7 grams. The Weebleed battery that I flew on this little guy that we watched during the intro, this is going to be the last battery that I show you, is 8.1 grams. So 8.1, these are both 300 mAh. The battery on the scale just went dead. The other battery is a Beta FPV. God damn it. Beta FPV 450. Let me see if I can get like one more second of functionality on this thing. Come on. Don't die. 12.5 grams. Huge weight difference. This is going to be the second battery we watch. First battery we watch is the 300, 8.7. Then we're going to watch the 450, 12.5. Then we're going to watch the 65 mil motor-to-motor rig, 8.1 grams. Cool? There's all your weights. If any mathematicians are in chat and you want to add those weights to the dry weights of the rigs, that'd be pretty cool. You don't have to, though. We can all do the mental math. I mean, the actual weight doesn't really matter, right? Like, lightest weight rig that I've flown at the Jungle Gym from Friday, medium weight rig at the Jungle Gym, which is going to be the last battery we watch today. First 2 batteries on this guy are going to be a little bit lighter. Third and fourth batteries are going to be a little bit heavier. Cool? So here is the Mobula 7 on the Emax 300. This was also my first battery flying today, so you can you'll see me sort of warm up during this battery. The power is pretty awesome. I will admit this Mobula 7 with these 080 EX 0802 30,000s with this particular battery is pretty rockin'. And this is what you saw during the intro, towards the end of the intro, when the one battery ran out. when the 65 millimeter Whoop battery ran out. This rig got kind of beat up during the course of this flight. Let me take a look here. Let me see if the motor bell is what bent. Usually on these rigs, the shaft doesn't bend below the bell. The shaft bends up above the bell, which is kind of annoying because it's harder to see. But I'm going to show you how to tell. I'm going to show you how to tell if your Tinywhoop motors are mangled. Those of you that follow me on the Instagram, you guys got to see a really cool little Instagram video of how to tell if your 5-inch motors are banged up. Let me show you that super quick. You should watch this on Instagram because there's just a fantastic song on here. But just for the sake of showing, can I mute it? Is it going to play muted? All right, so I want you to look at the gap between the wires and the bell. That's where you're looking for the wobble. That's the song that's playing, the wobble. This is bad. You don't want it to. You can't really see it when I slow it down here, but we'll let it loop. So the first motor is not too bad. This isn't too bad. A little bit worse. This is pretty bad. Even worse. And then this last one is awful. 3 of these motors need to be changed out by my standards. The way that my tunes are. Which is not like super aggressive, but also not totally dead. Check that out on Instagram. You're going to love my nuts. The song just sets it off. It's just terrific. With Tinywhoop motors, so what you're seeing there is down below, you've got your motor shaft, then you've got the motor bell, and then down below the bell, the motor shaft keeps going in through the bearings. And on 5-inch motors and 3-inch motors, the motor shaft bends down here below the bell. So the entire bell will start to wobble, which is really easy to see. And then that puts too many vibes into the whole frame, and it's just a hot mess. Tinywhoops, on the other hand, they bend the motor shaft up above the bell. So doing that same trick where you spin the motor and you look at the gap between the bottom of the bell and the wires doesn't really work on a Tinywhoop. What you really need to do is take the propellers off, and then you do the same thing. You spin the motors up in the motors tab, and then you just look at the motor shaft, and you can even like put your finger next to the motor shaft, and it'll be really obvious. Like if it's so you get the motor shaft spinning, and then if it's wobbling and you put your finger really carefully next to it, it'll like tap your finger. If it's perfectly straight, it'll just stay perfectly straight, and it won't like tap against your finger. You can literally like feel it. So I kind of need to do that real quick here because I want to see how badly I beat these motors up. So these the EX, the Happy Model EX 0802 motors, we'll get video back in a second. I'm just switching the battery. These Happy Model EX motors are very fragile. Like, they're known to be very fragile. Here we go. All right, so we got another one of these Emax 300 mAh batteries. Look at that beautiful kill-all carbon tote bag. Don't you want one of your own? You should. God damn it. Give me the video back, you jerks. Give it back. There we go. All right, so here's another one of these 300 mAh batteries. While that's going on, I'm gonna check these motor bells over here. I could show you this, but you really wouldn't see much because no cameras are gonna focus. Are gonna have a macro focus that'll show you this wobble. I'm just gonna make them wobble and tell you guys how beat up the motors are, because it's kind of just as good. All right, so let's see. So you just arrow up for a while on the master slider until they all spin. The slower you can get them spinning, oh yeah. I mean, you can even kind of see it. Like, you can just look at the motor shafts, and you can just kind of see whether or not they're wobbling. But if you definitely want to check it, yeah, just put your fingernail right next to the just put your fingernail right next to the motor shaft, and you'll literally feel whether or not it's wobbling. So motor number 2 is not all that bad. Motor number 1 isn't terrible. Motor number 3 is pretty bad. And motor number 4 is pretty bad too. I have some... Motor number 2 is spinning much slower than the other motors. Why isn't bidirectional D-shot on? What? Bueller? Let's turn bidirectional D-shot on. That's weird. I don't know why that's not on. So there you guys go. There are the 2 batteries from the... Oh wait, no. There's a little bit more. I was getting a stick out of my shoe. Also, a little stick got jammed in between the prop and the canopy. That's why I had to go get it. Man, I was having a hard time doing Matty flips today. I don't know what the hell was going on. Usually they're kind of my bread and butter, but I just could not get them dialed in. So yeah, these EX0802s are definitely taking some abuse. To be expected, some of these crashes were really hard, and this Mobula 7 is a heavy rig. One of the things I can tell you that I don't like about this Mobula 7 is that it's too heavy, and it's really beating on these motors. I think I'm still kind of all about the 65 thing. I don't think that this, and good lord, I get no warning on the battery. It just explodes. So there you go. That's the 300 mAh battery. Here comes the oh, there you go. The Beta FPV 450 BT 2.0 battery. Let me. Why the hell was bidirectional D-shot turned off? That's really weird. Really weird. That could have been why I was getting the core temperature warning. So I started to get the core temperature warning as I crashed this rig more and more, and the motor started to get bent up, which is kind of to be expected. At some point I pulled the master multiplier down from 1.4 to 1.2, and that helped it quite a bit. Still didn't completely help it, but it definitely helped. So I'm just getting my filters set back up now that I've turned bidirectional D-shot back on. Let me take a look at why this one motor is spinning more slowly than the others. Hold on. Motor number 2 is spinning noticeably slower than the others. I'm not really sure why. I'm trying to figure out why here. Yeah, so when the other motors are sitting here spinning at like 2,000 RPM... Well, that says motor 4. What? Oh, wow, it's spinning way slower. It's spinning half the speed. Motor 1 is spinning at 2,000 RPM. Motor 2 is spinning at 1,000 RPM. Motor 3 is spinning at 2,000. Motor 4 is spinning at 1,600 or so. That's very weird. That's going to... So when you have that situation, the PID loop is going to equalize it all. And I'm basically only getting the amount of power that the slower motor is spinning. Ah, nope. When I crank them all the way up... Interesting. When I crank them all the way up to full throttle, they spin the same RPM. So... Huh. Very weird. So our other trick of holding the rig and spinning the motors up individually, it does work. Yeah, I can definitely feel in my hand as I hold this rig and I sweep the motors up and down in the motor tab. I can definitely feel that motors 3 and 4 are vibrating harder. than the other ones. And what that means is that the motor shaft is, in fact, bent below the bell as well. The motor shaft up above the bell doesn't have enough mass to really generate vibrations that you're going to feel through your hand when you do this little test, but just putting your fingernail next to the motor shaft and feeling if it's wobbling is going to kind of show you that. So that's kind of interesting. Motor 3, the bell is bent below the shaft. Motor 4, the bell is bent up above the shaft. I'm sorry, the shaft is bent below the bell on motor 3. The shaft is bent above the bell on motor 4, which is kind of weird, if I'm honest. But, I mean, it really doesn't matter. Both of those motor bells do need to get swapped out. Luckily, I have a whole bunch. I've accidentally bought a bunch of the lower KV EX0802s that I can just rip the bells off of. So these motors will be okay. Although, I gotta be honest, on this Mobula 7, I don't know if a 1mm shaft motor is really the right way to go. So here's the 4th battery, which is another Beta FPV 450. Man, look at that tote bag. Available over on Teespring. Linked at CiottiFPV.com. It's got my logo on the other side. I'm serious. It's nice to have a little FPV specific tote bag. There's always like 1 or 2 extra things that are floating around that you want to bring with you that you end up putting in some stupid looking bag, and then you look like a donkey. Nobody wants to look like a donkey. So yeah, there you guys go. I would like to check that same thing on... Oh, is this thing prop? Did I move this thing to props in? There's a chance that I moved this to props in. God damn it. I've got Betaflight up on the other monitor here. I'm gonna get caught up on chat in a second, but I'm trying to front load the live streams with the actual content so that people that are not watching live will benefit a little bit more from that. Let me see if I set this thing up props in. Hold on. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Alright, is this props in? It is! Look at me go. I remember things sometimes. Not often. Look at that core temperature warning, man. Just will not go away. Will not go away. That's from these motors getting beat up. I think that's also from RPM filtering not being on. This just had dynamic notch filters, which the new dynamic notch filters in 4.3 admittedly work really, really well, but I still don't think they work as good as the RPM filters, especially when they're targeting motor vibrations like these. Like this is the perfect vibration for the RPM filters to target and take care of. So yeah, the dynamic notch filters are better suited for attacking like frame resonances and whatnot. All right, so there you go, guys. That's 4 batteries on the Mobula 7, which is now put back together. I was like really happy. I start flying around. I'm like, ooh, good power. It's light enough. It was a little bit windy, so it was getting pushed around a little bit, but not too bad. And I was like, yeah, that's damn good. That's what, and I even had the thought, like, that is what these 75mm rigs are for. And then I put this thing in the air. And, like, yes, I was very warmed up by the time I started flying this, but this flies better. And I think you'll see it. I don't think I'll have to really, like, justify that all that much. I think you're going to be able to see it. So here's that. Here's the one battery that I flew on this Mobula 6 Meteor 65 frame Tinywhoop the full-size Tinywhoop 0802 30,000 kV motors on these prototype T-motor tri-blades, which are very similar to the Gemfan tri-blades. This rig also flies great on the Gemfan bi-blades, but I wanted to try it on these tri-blades. I don't think these tri-blades are like the recipe for success or anything like that, but fucking A, they make some power, which was kind of nice out there. I don't think this would have been any better or worse with the bi-blades, but Tinywhoop props are cheap, so try it on both, see which ones you like better. BT 2.0, NewBeeDrone 300 mAh battery, different camera. This is now a lighter canopy and camera setup by like a full gram, Runcam Nano 3, and yeah, it's a Mobula 6 with a frame swap, BT 2.0, and a motor and prop swap. Check this out. This is ridiculous. Like, this is stupid. I'm going to take the props off of this and see how banged up the motors are. So these 0802s now, these are not the EX 0802s. These are the full-size 0802s, and they are significantly more durable. And this rig is lighter weight. So from a durability standpoint, what you're seeing right now is going to crash a lot better. It's going to last a lot longer. And to be honest, it flew better in every way. It had just as much power, I swear to God, if not more. And like, I'm just, my mind is blown. I don't know why I'm getting the, oh, I do know why. This Mobula 6 AIO has always done that core temperature bullshit. I don't know why. I have 3 of these Mobula 6 ELRS full-size AIOs. And this one always has given me the core temperature warning. I mean, it's giving me the warning because the ESCs are getting too hot. That's the problem. I don't know why that's the problem, is what I'm saying. But it flies fine. It does eventually fall out of the sky. Come on! Come on! Come on! Look at that! Did you see that? Come on now. I couldn't do that with the 75 rig. I couldn't even do a big, gnarly fucking Matty flip. This is next level, man. Absolutely next level. This is what, and this is the same conclusion I came to on Friday, which was that the 65mm whoop is the shit. We've now got powertrains that make a bunch of power, and then it's just stupidly lightweight. It crashes really well. It fits in places that nothing else fits because it's hysterically small. It's just crazy, man. Like, look, first shot right through. I mean, I did kind of bump it, but, yeah, this is it, yo. This is the Jungle Gym basher. The 0702s, that was luck on the exit there. Fair play. But yeah, the 0702 versus 0802, on the Jungle Gym. Well, I mean, that'll be the next test. That'll be what we talk about this Wednesday on Whoop Wednesday for sure. I'll come out with 8 of the WeBleed FPV batteries, and I'll do 4 on the 0702 Tinywhoop and 4 on the 0802 Tinywhoop. I think that the big thing here is 65mm Tinywhoops are just the fucking jam. I think that's the main thing that we're kind of learning here. When it comes to these jungle gyms, because yeah, when you think about it, like, so that the runtime is kind of shit too. For the record, that's 30,000 kV on the tri-blades. So it looks like we took off at about 20 seconds in, and the battery fell out of the sky with no warning. I got no warning because of the core temperature thing. But yeah, so the battery literally fell out of the sky at 250. So 2 minute and 30 second runtime. That runtime would be a lot better with bi-blades and or with 0702s. So if you care about runtime, which you shouldn't on a Tinywhoop, because the batteries are really cheap, yeah, 0702s and or bi-blades are going to help the runtime out quite a bit. But don't play the runtime game on Tinywhoops. It takes like 14 seconds to swap the battery out, and the batteries are crazy cheap. So just get a bunch of batteries. You're gonna love it. Having a whole bunch of batteries is it. You feel like a winner. Let's be honest here. You feel like a winner. So here's the full me showing you how to test it. You come into the motors tab here. You click the I understand the risks button down here. And then you take your master slider and you just move it up a little bit, and then you use your down arrow, and you can use your down arrow or the up arrow to increase or decrease, and you just bring them down to the point where they're just barely spinning. Like they'll get to a point where they're like You keep going up a little bit, and they'll all four start to just spin up, and then you can arrow down and just find the slowest possible point, and then you just take your little fingernail here and you just put it next to the motor. Actually, you got to arrow up a little bit because your fingernail will stop them from spinning. So on this little guy, motor 1, motor 1's got some wobble. Motor 2's got some wobble too. Ooh, so does motor 3. Motor 4 is pretty clean. So these motors took just as much of a beating as on the Mobula 7 as the EX 0802s. Again, these are the full can 0802s. This is not the first time I've flown any of these motors. These motors have definitely been flown quite a bit more around the house. These motors have been abused. These were on a NewBeeDrone build, which was pretty heavy. It was like 23, 24 grams. And I flew that rig a lot at Maggie's place, at Maggie's old place, her rental house. And that place was brutal. You guys remember, that place was brutal on Tinywhoops. So, yeah, not super. Oh, you know why I couldn't get Matty flips locked in? Because I'm doing them outside. It's Matty flips I'm used to doing Matty flips with the Tinywhoops inside, where you have the ceiling to reference off of. When you're doing a Matty flip outside, you just have the sky to reference off of, which is much harder. It's much harder to know when, so you front flip over, and then there's a point where you're just looking up at the sky. And at this point, you don't want to add throttle, because when you add throttle at this point, it rockets you towards the ground. You want to wait. You want to wait until it's either perfectly vertical or starting to come like this, and then you add throttle. So you need to add throttle early enough to give it the backwards momentum, but not so early that you drive it into the ground, and it's already falling. So when you have a ceiling above you, it's a much easier reference point for when it hits this and you stab the throttle to get it going backwards. And then as it continues to rotate, you're starting to send some thrust downwards here, right? No thrust vector downwards at all, little bit thrust vector down, bunch of thrust vector downwards. So yeah, when you're doing Matty flips outside, the sky is a much shittier reference point, and I'm just not used to that with Tinywhoops. So yeah, I'm going to have to get that timing kind of locked into my head. So yeah, there you go. Questions, comments? Could you guys see the difference in those batteries? Could you see the difference between the first two batteries and the third and fourth batteries, from the lighter weight 300 mAh battery to the heavier 450 mAh battery? Let me get caught up on chat. Michael D says hello. CiottiFPV and Gangly Gang. Alec Dvornik says hello, CiottiFPV and the collective. Bulldog FPV says, what's up, Gangly Gang and CiottiFPV? Today's title is perfect. Just finished building a 75mm for both racing and playground bashing. Thought the 75 would be better for breezy conditions here in Indy. So today had some real wind, and I did not feel a difference between these two guys. You would think that with how much heavier this is, it would maybe fight the wind more, but it's a lot bigger. Like, look how much bigger it is. This is a much bigger parachute. This is just going to get hit by a lot less wind. I did not feel any difference whatsoever in the way that these two guys handled wind. They both got pushed around, to be really honest. They both got pushed around. It wasn't too bad, but they got pushed around. Everything with a duct is going to get pushed around by the wind. On a windy day, technically speaking, this would be a better bet. This would deal with the wind better because there's no prop guard. But this is so inaccurate because of the lack of a prop guard that I just don't like it. I just, there's nothing about this that I like, to be completely honest with you. I really wish that I did. I really want to, because I took the time and effort to build the damn thing, but I just can't find a single thing that does better than these guys. So yeah, even with the wind, I'm still liking this. And that's a good thing, because that means that you don't have to build both a 65 and a 75, and you don't have to, in your brain, have two separate sets of muscle memory, because these do fly completely different. Like, this is good. This is a really good thing that the 65mm rig is doing so well on the jungle gym, because just build this and then build another one and build another one and build another one, because they're cheap and they're easy to build. And then once you have 4 of the damn things, you will just hammer the living piss out of them all the time, and you will, like, your piloting will go bananas, because that's how you get good as a pilot. You have a bunch of identical rigs and you fly the shit out of them, and you don't care about breaking them, and you try crazy shit, and when you push yourself to that limit, that's when you get better. Period. Like, no questions asked. Like, that is just the truth. So yeah, this is a really good thing that this performs so well. Like, I admittedly, like, I really wanted this to perform better, because again, I went through the effort and time, and I paid for it, right? But it's heavier, it's harder to shoot gaps. I don't really think it has more power. Sure, will it get more runtime? Absolutely. Can it carry a bigger battery for even more runtime? Absolutely. Should any of us give a rat's ass about runtime with Tinywhoops? Absolutely not. Unless you're in, like, a fringe case where you want to fly a Tinywhoop really far away, and that does exist. That does exist. So, but that's kind of it. Like that's really the only thing that I can figure out that these 75mm rigs do better. And if you want to fly farther away than you can with this, you should build a 3-inch toothpick, I think, because it's going to have much better flight dynamics outside, and it's going to go even farther away. You're going to have to buy a separate set of batteries for it, so that's not great. Well, at that point, that's what this is for. That's what this is for, right there. I guess you could maybe argue that this is not safe to fly around people, and this is. I don't know about that one. If you hit somebody with this, they're gonna laugh. Like, straight up. So, yeah, this is for flying long distances. I want to figure something out. I've tried really hard to figure something out that these 75s do better. I guess maybe they're just different. And if for some reason you fly these two and you enjoy this more, awesome. I love that for you. I have tried so hard to have that experience, and I can't. I can't get there. I can't find the thing that it does better when I take a step back and when I pull, like, the placebo out of it, right? Because, like, for all 4 of those first batteries, I was like, yep, I'm a genius. I'm the smartest person on earth. Thank God I bought this Mobula 7 ELRS. This is the answer. This is great. This is the best. I knew it. I'm a genius. I'm going to fucking start this live stream and be like, everybody, come tell me how smart I am. Then I flew this. And I was like, oh, back to the drawing board. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'm going to keep this together. And I think what I'm going to do is swap this over to a motor with a 1.5mm motor shaft for infinite durability, and just bash the balls out of this thing on the jungle gym, and just have this be completely indestructible. Because I actually kind of think that these are light enough to be pretty much indestructible, if I'm really honest. But a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft motor on this, like the NewBeeDrone Flow 1102 or the Beta FPV 1102, or there are now some 1002s. Any of those motors on a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft in a rig this lightweight is going to be full-blown indestructible, like period. Well, the motor will be indestructible. I wonder if I'll start breaking the frame. I doubt it, because this Mobula 7 ELRS, this is the V4 75 millimeter Happy Model frame, is hysterically stout. I have to assume at some point maybe I'll start breaking cameras, I guess. Maybe not, though, because it's so lightweight. But I think that's the future for this rig. It just turn it into like the fucking basher of bashers and just bounce it off of, you know, like full throttle, bounce it off the metal nonstop. So, yeah. But in terms of having fun and getting like absolutely bananas footage, like I just showed you, for sure. Like, woo! Justin the Guy says, turns out a Mobula 6 is, as a point of fact, not pitbull proof. Just saying. Yeah, dogs can do some damage to Tinywhoops. Yeah, dog's bite is pretty ridiculous. PJ says, what's up? Yeah, I gotta get caught up on chat now. Jason Crabtree says, what's up, CiottiFPV in chat? Kevin Sumner says, is the family well yet? Little by little. Felix tested negative for COVID. Maggie has not tested negative yet. Sage is still having a really hard time, not COVID related, other strange stuff. But yeah, we're getting there. Thank God. This has been a rough couple of weeks. Casey Henderson says, hey buddy, 661. Hey Casey, I read your email. I replied to it. I don't know what you're asking me. Thanks for reaching out and telling me all that, but I don't know what the question is. I don't know how you want me to help you. Feel free to ask any questions you've got here in chat. I would actually kind of prefer that, because if, you know, I love it when you guys ask me questions in the chat, because there are other people with the same questions as you. If you ever email me and like I ask you in my reply back to come to a live stream and ask me in the chat, that's why. Like you're never the only person with a question. There's always a whole bunch of people with the exact same question as you. And yeah, I'm here for 10 hours a week on live stream. So I really prefer if you guys ask me questions here so that we can talk through it. And then if other people have like follow-up questions or whatnot, or just other people get the benefit of the answer that I'm giving to you. So yeah, Casey, if you want to ask whatever the question is here, that would be wonderful. 661 says 65 millimeter first and 75 millimeter second only is because props and shot. Yeah, I had a feeling you guys would know. YouTube just did the thing, scrolling back up. Damn you, YouTube. Doc says, I just saw the bailout on the ejection roll, scared to break the quad in a destructive fashion. I did bail on a bunch of dives because they were dives where it was like I didn't really line this up. I just threw it at the usually the monkey bar area. I'm assuming that's what you were calling out, Doc. Yeah, I try not to just like throw quads at something and just see if they'll go through the gap, because I don't gain anything from that. I didn't learn anything from that, right? So like if I'm like in a flow and I've just hurled it towards something, every once in a while I'll let it fall and see what happens. But usually, like if I'm in that scenario and I'm like, nah, I didn't line this up at all, I'll just kind of bail on it and just get out of there, because yeah, I mean, I'm not like, it's just whatever. Riot 9 says shirt of the day. This is my workout shirt. One of. This is a place in Charleston called The Barrel. in Folly Beach that I used to go to all the time. So not car or quad related. Sorry, just one of my rando shirts that I wear when I do yogurt. Casey Anderson's, hey buddy, are you feeling better? Getting there. Ethan W says, I have some old VR006 beta FPV goggles. Want to turn them into an FPV screen, but they only have one SMA, but there is another set of pads that I can solder an SMA to. Can I? And one? Maybe? I think VR006 is actually an eSheen goggle, and not beta FPV. And eSheen had two very similar goggles, VR006 and I think VR007. One of them was diversity, the other one was not diversity. It sounds like you have the non-diversity goggle. It wouldn't surprise me if they built the same goggle and then just didn't solder up a second SMA to the one, because those goggles are so cheap anyway, and manufacturing efficiencies sometimes are that you make the same exact thing and then just, in the software or whatever, you do the simplest thing possible to cripple the one device, and then you sell it for a couple of bucks less. So there's a chance. I mean, I don't think you're going to hurt anything by trying, so maybe just try it. Yeah, I mean, diversity will give you a pretty real... I mean, on one hand, you're just making an FPV screen. You're not going to be flying through it. You're going to be handing it to somebody that's probably not a pilot, that doesn't really care what you're doing. They're going to look at it for 5 seconds, and then they're going to look away and take out their phone. You're going to think that they're still watching you, but they're not going to be, because that's just how it goes. So, on one hand, maybe just don't run it as maybe just run it as it is, because yeah, an that's the dirty little secret behind when you hand someone an FPV screen that's not a pilot, because they don't know. You go 100 feet in the air and they go, oh wow, and then that's all they care about. They don't care about your power loop. They don't know what a power loop is. It's you showed them how high it goes. You showed them how fast it goes. That's all they care about. Sorry, that's just the way it is. I've been flying for almost 7 years, and some of my work is going to be on Bravo TV tonight, and I get the exact same reaction. Nobody cares. So don't feel bad about that. It's just the way it is. But yeah, I don't think you'll hurt anything by trying it. So there you go. PJ says, helping my sister move into her house, cleaning walls, and listening to the greatest stream in the world. Hit that like, friends. I wish that would play properly. I can see that it doesn't play properly, and I don't know why. In the world. I think that one works properly. Whatever. Kevin Sumner dropping the Patreon link. Thank you, homie. Deadband FPV says, have Mobula 6 ELRS on factory PID tune. Won't get off the ground. On a default PID tune flies fine. This happened suddenly. Any thoughts? When you says it happened suddenly, what does that mean? Did you slam it into the wall at full beans? Is that suddenly? Or did you just... It was totally fine. You unplugged a battery, you plugged in another battery, and all of a sudden all hell broke loose. The suddenly, that's where the money is. That when the problem started, that's gonna be the problem. And typically it's because you smashed it into something. For us, with what we do and how we fly, typically you smash your quad into something really hard, and then all of a sudden things change. When you slam them in, when we slam them into something hard, something breaks or bends or fatigues. Props bend, motor shafts bend, frames break, screws back out. So those are typically the things that cause it. But it all happens when it changes, right? Like, you get a quad and it flies fine, hopefully, out of the box. 99.9% of the time, something physical happens and then it changes. It's almost never you unplug a battery and plug another battery in, and magically it starts flying like ass. Ones and zeros just don't work like that usually. Like you just, technically speaking, with some of the cheaper boards, if you fly the battery down low enough, it can reset the AIO. That's really the only case that the ones and zeros in there can just magically change. But when that happens, you know it, because you go to arm it and it won't arm because the board got wiped out. So that shouldn't be it. The other thing I'll say is that if the default PID tune flies fine, away you go. Yeah, if like fly it until it explodes. The only real reason, we were talking about this Friday actually, the only real reason to not use the stock PID tune is if it's not flying fine on the stock PID tune. Having a more aggressive than stock PID tune, especially nowadays with how aggressive 4.3's stock tune is, the only reason to have a more aggressive PID tune is if you're taking that footage and basically being paid for it. Like if you're being paid to essentially have rock solid footage. That's really the only reason to crank that PID tune up. Or if you're using footage to make a reel, to try to sell yourself, right? If you're flying for fun, a stock PID tune has a lot of benefits. It's going to be a little bit more loose, so it's going to show you prop wash, and that's going to make you a better pilot because you're going to get to see when that prop wash happens, so you're going to learn to not put it into prop wash, and that's going to make you a better pilot forever, even if you do move on to being a pro pilot and getting paid for your work. It's going to allow you to crash harder, crash more often, fly more banged up motors, more banged up props. So you're going to change less props. You're going to change fewer motors. So it's going to literally save you money. There are a million reasons to fly a stock or even a less than stock PID tune, unless you're getting paid to do this. If you're getting paid to do this, you should kind of know all this already. So yeah, it's probably not the case. But if that's what your future is, then yeah, give some thought to PID time, but to PID tuning. But yeah, if you're flying for fun, stock PID tune all day. And you specifically said that on the default PID tune it flies fine, so fucking fly it, man. Beat it. It'll love it for you. George Stein says, do you know the company Sub 250 with NanoFly 16? Do you think they are any good? I do not. I do not know that company. There's a guy on Instagram whose Instagram handle is Sub 250, and he seems to build some super cool rigs. They're all solid base plate rigs, which I really don't like, but they're really interesting looking rigs, and he's super active on Instagram, which is a good thing because that means that he's really working it, putting a lot of time in. So if that's who you're talking about, the big thing I don't like is that none of his frames have removable arms, and that's a really big deal. So yeah, they're not for me, but they seem to be pretty good. PJ says, I love my Ultimate Freestyle Whoop. So good with the Crux 3 canopy and Caddx Ant. 30 on the nose, all up weight. Very cool, PJ. Yeah, the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop is, it is quite the thing. I have not been flying. I've been flying less and less and less 5-inch and 3-inch and big stuff with how fun this little Mobula 6 Meteor 65 BT 2.0 0702, even now the 0802 rigs fly. It gives me like 90% of the flight experience, and I can do it in the fucking house or down the street at the jungle gym. Now I can go and there's jungle gyms everywhere. I can hit up like every single park, and every single jungle gym is a completely unique, wild thing. Come on. Amazing. And I can even do it with HD now, with the HD Zero rig. Although I have a feeling I would break that rig, banging it off but we'll do it at some point for sure. Ramdango says, I had thin black lines going up my feed at high throttle. One wobbly motor replaced, fixed it. So there you go. So the wobbly motor is creating electrical garbage, electrical noise, electrical interference, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that's what Ramdanko was seeing there. It's interesting what motors can do to the rest of the quad. Like, you would think it would just put more vibes into the gyro, but yeah, especially on smaller rigs that don't have many capacitors on them to clean the signal up. Yeah, it's kind of wild, and especially on AIOs where the ground plane, the main ground plane of the AIO is shared between the ESC components and the gyro and the video system and everything. It's really interesting to see how many things can be affected by stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Oscar Liang has an article about troubleshooting video noise that's really good. I have it linked on my Patreon under Tech Tips. And I kind of summarized it a little bit to make it a little bit of an easier rig, because Oscar's articles are pages and pages and pages. They're wonderful, but they're very long. Yeah, electrical noise, like black lines versus white lines, horizontal versus like kind of rolling lines. There is info out there on like what each one of those means, which is, I've never memorized it, but you can always just look it up, bro. Why memorize anything anymore when you can just type shit into Google? It pops right up. Right9 says, is your VTX set to low power until first arm? She's telling me she's hot. Yes, all of my VTXs, I have a chunk of OSD and VTX settings that I copy and paste into the CLI of every single build that I do. And one of the things in there is low power until first arm. That's super important. There's pretty much no reason to not have that turned on in your VTX table. Luis Hurtado says, do you ever lube Tinywhoop motors? I don't, but it's not a bad idea. Mainly because Tinywhoop motors don't use bearings. They use bushings, literally metal bushings. The motor shaft, and then it's like a copper, or I don't know what the metal is. It's like a brown, it's like a copperish color. Bushing, it's just a chunk of metal. And that motor shaft is just in there fucking wiggling around and shit. So it's not a bad idea. NewBeeDrone actually sells motor lube. I mean, it's just really thin oil. There's nothing crazy about it. What is cool though is that it has a very fine applicator tip, which is basically like a needle. It's got a little needle tip on it, and that's where I mean, you can certainly go onto Amazon. I have a tube of from back in my longboarding days, skateboard longboard bearing. Lube that I use, and it's got the same little tiny really fine tip applicator. No reason for you to not go on Amazon and just type in like skateboard lube or just like oil with thin applicator tip, and I'm sure it'll pop up. But you know, support NewBeeDrone, and it's a perfect excuse to buy a couple more things off of their website, because NewBeeDrone's website has all kinds of good shit. I highly recommend, if you guys have like a half an hour or an hour, go through NewBeeDrone's entire website. Here's how I do orders on the internet. Not every time, but more often than not, when I order something on the internet, this is what I do. I hold down the command button on Mac. I don't know what it is on PC. And I just command click every fucking thing. And that's how I do it. Nope, I fucked it up. But, yeah, okay, so hold on. So on NewBeeDrone's website, this is what you want to do. Every website's a little bit different. But on NewBeeDrone's website, you want to go to their main page, and I think this is how you can do it. So you just command click these top headings, and they all open in individual tabs, and then you just go through them. And I think that it'll give you, see, 203 products, So accessories is broken up here into a bunch of stuff. I believe that by clicking this top heading, it's going to give you all this stuff. Sometimes it doesn't. On some websites it doesn't, but I think there's... And just go through everything, man. You'll find all kinds of cool shit. M3 aluminum standoffs. Let's see if they have any weird sizes. They sure do. 28 millimeters. PyroDrone is the only other website, I think, that has 28 millimeter standoffs. That matters because the V1 Ripsqueak, if you build it with a RunCam hybrid, 28 millimeter standoffs are absolutely perfect. Sure, they're only 2 millimeters different than 30, but you want your rig to be perfect or you want your rig to be not perfect? All kinds of wacky stuff. Look at this. Grommets that you can get in different colors. Come on now. You know you want to color coordinate your fucking build all the way down to the rubber grommets. You don't? That's just me? Fuck you. So yeah. And then you just sit here for an hour, and it's the easiest hour of your life because you just shop. You just sit here and shop for a half an hour to an hour. Look at that. Look at that really nice screwdriver. Come on. Look, it's got a fucking bearing on the end. You need that. It's sold out. I need that. Notify me, bitches. I need a screwdriver with a bearing on it. It's only $4. We should do this one day. We should sit here one day and go through for 2 hours. We'll see how many websites we can get through top to bottom. I'm telling you, man, you'll find some crazy shit that you didn't even know existed that's really nice. Ooh, perfect example. M2 aluminum standoffs are hard to find. I think PyroDrone has these, but I believe PyroDrone has really weird sizes. These are standard sizes, and that's awesome. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Usually when websites have the M2 aluminum standoffs, they'll have like 12 millimeters and like 18 millimeters. It's really weird. These are really lightweight battery straps. No, they're not. They have metal buckles. Never mind. Ethics has plastic buckle battery straps that, and they're one of the few. You used to be able to get plastic buckle battery straps all over the place. They're significantly lighter. You'll save like 4 or 5 grams using a plastic buckle battery strap, and as long as you use 2 of them, they won't break. Well, I mean, eventually you'll break one of them, but you'll never break 2 of them. There's the Smoov Lube, and there's the little needle point applicator. So you can just put the oil exactly where you want it and not anywhere that you don't want it. Yeah, man. Look, they sell a power bank with one of their stickers on it. I think it's just like a power bank they got off eBay. Or Amazon or whatever. But yeah, man, go through entire websites and then send me a message and be like, yo, you were so right. I love going through the entire website now. You've ruined my life forever. I just spent $7,000 on NewBeeDrone. Yeah, fair warning. Going through an entire website, your shopping cart will like start at $100 and it will pretty quickly get to like $500 or $600. So just be aware. I warned you. M2 aluminum colorful 2mm spacers. Those are pretty rare. Look at this! Look at this! NewBeeDrone black box chip for the Infinity 30 flight controller. You can install your own black box chip. If you have that flight controller, you're fucking welcome. Look! Look it! It doesn't have it, and then you can add it. Tell me that's not the most satisfying thing you've ever seen. Put your own black box chip on your flight controller? Come on. You can't tell me you won't feel like a goddamn superhero if you did that. You'd be talking to somebody you'd be fine with somebody and it'll come up in conversation. It'll be like, yo, check out how big my E-dick is. I bought a black box chip and installed it myself into my flight controller. And that person will be like, oh God, you didn't have to hit me in the face with it, you dick. Look at this, no big deal control. Oh, God. Too far? Just far enough. Oh, shit. Sorry to anyone that offended. For anyone that offended, really? You're what are you doing here? You haven't learned yet? That's what it took to offend you? It's not like that's the first time I've said something awful within the last 10 minutes. It's on you. Look, M2 flanged motor lock nut, various colors. Let me see what these are, actually. No, I don't like these. I don't use these. Maybe if you want them. Oh, these are M2. M2 flange. I don't know what you would use these for. But yeah, there's all kinds of really cool stuff buried on these websites. And yeah, it's just, I find it very fun to sit here and just go through an entire website. You also learn a lot. Like, you'll see stuff and you're like, what is that? And you click through and you like look at it closer and you maybe read the description and you'll be like, oh shit, okay. There's such thing as damping and lubricating oil for gimbals. That's stupid. And then there'll be like this lens and you'll be like, what the fuck? What does that mean? And you'll look here and you'll be like, oh, 165-degree field of view. On what camera? I don't know. You can't really, like, the joke there is that you can't really, like, putting this lens, every single different camera that you put this lens on is going to have a different field of view. So it's kind of insane to say that this lens has a 165 field of view. Well, okay, so here, they did it right. They did it right. 165 field of view on the Swift Series PZ0420 Sky camera. So on that camera. But usually you're not going to buy this, I don't know. I buy lenses and then put them onto other different cameras to try to make cameras better. USB port protector plugs. Look at that. Don't buy these. I have these on my Etsy store. Support me. I'm much more starving than NewBeeDrone. I have much less food than NewBeeDrone does. So yeah, there you go. 39 products and HD cameras, 101 products and radio transmitters, 180 different propellers. The propeller section, yo, you can just get lost in the propeller section. Come on. I'll spend fucking hours looking at propellers. What's this one? What's this propeller? Oh, it's got 2 more degrees of pitch angle. Oh, but it's 0.1 gram heavier. Hey, I've got the live chat live. Give me your money. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com and join my Patreon. It'll give you full access to the Discord channel. On the Discord channel is a Patreon-only thing called Livestream Live, and I have that opened over here, and so that people that support me can type things, and then I can not see them. Maybe I'll see them. Probably not. Looks like Mr. Huggy's been at it again with some cool little clips. Here's a good one. Here's one that I love. I love all these clips that you guys make. Oh, this is great. Actually, what it's gonna be like is, man, this rig is heavy. Oh my God, this rig is so heavy. Oh man, I wish this rig was less heavy. Man, this thing is so heavy. Oh, look how hard it crashes. Oh man, it's so heavy. It's got okay power though. Oh, this is great. Actually, what it's gonna be like is, man, this rig is heavy. Oh my God, this rig is. Oh God. Man, I wish this rig was less heavy. So predictable. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's a good one. Isn't that great? Here's a good one. I think this one. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? This one won't play, I don't know why. Oh, shit. It's good stuff. Look at all these people in live chat. Look at this fucking thing. Oh, it's just crazy little gears that it's sitting on. Yeah, so this is live chat live. Look, somebody else got a Tiny K. I love it. Went ham with the stickers. Yeah. Ooh, the FPV Exchange sticker. Okay. Hey, huge thanks, as always, to FPV Exchange. Oh, look at these wheels. What? Fuck you. Oh, that looks hot with those wheels. You bastard. This is available on Tinywhoop.com. I think. Jesse got, like, I think he told me he bought 8 of them. And he sent me one. Here's mine. I went a little bit less hard on the stickers on mine, and I still have basic bitch stock wheels on it. This is very fun. So the whole point of this is the bed is plenty big for you to land a Tinywhoop in, and anybody can drive an RC car. Like, you know, it's fun to fly 2 up with quads, but it's hard to find someone that can fly worth a shit that you can actually, that's stable enough for you to chase. But RC cars, anybody can figure out. You can drive the damn things one-handed, technically. There you go. You drive it one-handed. So someone in your house will be able to drive this around, and then you land into the back of it, and it's very fun. And then after them driving it for 15 to 20 minutes cumulatively, they'll be tired of it. But man, those 15 to 20 minutes will be awesome. And yeah, here's mine. I went pretty light on the stickers. Tried to keep it a little tasteful. All I want to do is hammer the damn thing with stickers. But I'm trying my best to not go completely off the rails. And I got a couple little empty camera boxes that I put in the back, which is fun because as it's driving around, the camera boxes get all jibbly and jobbly. Yeah, very, very fun. I bet you that Jesse is sold out, though, because I know that Kim Fused and Gardo bought one, and it looks like Aber the Ham has bought one. Jesse sent me one, so that's only like 5 left. Maybe he ordered a bunch more, but yeah. And he's also selling this thing cheaper than the rest of the internet, so yeah, buy it off of tinywhoop.com. Support Jesse. I think he's selling them for what he's paying for them, so do everyone a favor and buy something else while you're on there. He has these 300 mAh BT 2.0 batteries. He's also still got a bunch of motors in stock, a bunch of the 30,000 kV motors in stock, all kinds of other amazing stuff. Tinywhoop.com is the perfect website to go through top to bottom because it's big, but it's not that big. You can get through the whole website in like 15, 20 minutes rather than like, I've gone through Get FPV top to bottom. Shit takes like I've gone through all the websites top to bottom. RDQ, Get FPV, and PyroDrone. It's like an hour or 2 to get through the website top to bottom. So I typically don't do it anymore. Tinywhoop.com, though, every time I do an order on there, I'll go through the whole site because I open up all the tabs and then we're good to go. Ooh, I had Burger King yesterday and I just farted. It smells exactly like what I ate yesterday. Is that just me? That's not good. Like that means that what you ate, your stomach acid can't break down. And that's not good. But I'll be damned if I don't get an Impossible Whopper at least once a month. Not really once a month. Maybe like once every other month. It's worth it. It's worth it. Colon be damned. Yikes. So yeah. Live stream live. Yet another benefit of jumping onto my Patreon for 10 pennies a day! Michael D says, thank you for the explanation on testing the motors. My rigs end up drifting to the right, and I can even see slight roll to the right. That shouldn't have anything to do with your motors, Michael D. That that is accelerometer drift. Stop flying in angle mode. It'll fix that right up, or horizon mode, and it'll fix that right up. Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with motors. The PID loop makes correction. If your motors start to get banged up, or you have an ESC channel that's starting to shit the bed, the PID loop runs at either 4 or 8,000 cycles a second. That's what the 4K or the 8K designate. That's times per second, 4,000 times per second, 8,000 times per second. So pretty much regardless of how beat your motors are, the PID loop is going to make corrections, and it's going to pull the other motors down, and it's going to do that a minimum of 4,000 times a second. So yeah, like any kind of flight performance stuff, unless it's really, really, really bad, is going to get taken care of by the PID loop. Abraham says, check the live stream channel in Discord. Bought one of those K-trucks from Tinywhoop. Love it already, and already can't stop myself from changing things. Nice, Saber. I can't believe I saw it in there before reading your comment. Jason Crabtree says, I have found the motor diagnostics to be extremely helpful. As the motors start to die, you will find they will easily saturate, and the flight controller will cut power to the others to compensate. Yep, that's exactly what we've been talking about. Denzel the Terrible says, hello, gangly gang and Ciotti, how are things? YouTube just did the thing. Bulldog FPV says, thoughts on the Meteor 65 Pro frame, slightly bigger props, maybe a little more power. The main problem with the Meteor 65 Pro frame is that no flight controllers that are worth a shit fit in there. The Beta FPV flight controller that fits in it is terrible. The Happy model flight controller that fits in it does not have a VTX built in. So the only real reason to use that frame is if you're gonna buy or build, I guess, a Mobula 6 HD0 that uses the flight controller that does fit into that frame. The problem is that rig is already too heavy, so then you're gonna put it into a bigger frame, and then you're only going to be able to run tri-blade propellers. And pretty much all of these Tinywhoops were now moving to bi-blade propellers. There's a real performance increase from bi-blade propellers because they're a lot lighter. So the response time on the PID loop goes way down. So yeah, I was going to do that. I was going to put that Meteor 65 Pro frame onto my Mobula 6 HD0, but after flying a couple of batteries, I realized that the main problem with that rig is that it's too heavy. So I'm not going to put it into a bigger frame that requires me to run heavier propellers, because that would make the situation even worse. If you are looking to build a really powerful Mobula 6 HD0 that maybe you're going to fly like outside or in like huge warehouse spaces, then maybe it would make sense to do that, or if you just want to be different. But yeah, I've had the biggest improvements that I've made to that rig have been lowering the weight, bringing it down to an 0702 30,000 kV on bi-blade propellers. I actually have it in the same frame that it came with. Eventually it'll get put into a regular Meteor 65 frame. Yeah, that makes that rig fly decreasing the weight on that rig makes it fly way better than adding power, because the HD0 system is adding 4-point-something grams of dead weight to it, and with a small Tinywhoop that like cripples it. So yeah, Tinywhoops fly good when they're very lightweight. Now that we have these 30,000 kV motor options in both 0702 and 0802, power is no longer an issue. So doing physical things that add weight or worsen the response time has a much bigger negative effect on these rigs than losing a little bit of power, but also losing some weight. It really is about shaving weight for Tinywhoops. That's how you make them fly better, not adding power. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on that. Michael D says, I like flying my Mobula 7 like a mini Cinewhoop to just cruise and practice, learn to get cinematic shots. that's pretty cool. That's an interesting approach to it. What I will say is that I'm actually considering moving the Mobula 6. Woo! I'm sort of mind over mattering, feeling like shit, and the lingering sickness, but catches up eventually. I'm considering moving the Mobula 6 HD0 over to a 75mm build to handle the extra weight and to act more like a Tinywhoop. The problem is the bigger ducts, there's going to be more duct in view. What I really want to do with that HD0 setup is go chase. There's a place local in Atlanta where guys do the RC drift cars, and I really want to go try to get some really cool footage of them. And HD0 is HD, right? So, thus the name. So, yeah, on one hand, so I love the way that rig flies now that it's lightened up, but the runtime kind of sucks because it's a little tiny rig trying to pick up an extra 4-point-something grams. So the Mobula 7 setup would make more sense, but the problem is the ducts are much bigger, and there's going to be much more duct in view of the HD feed, and I don't want that. Unfortunately, none of my original plan was to move that rig over into a, the carbon fiber frame. Oh, farts! The fractal frame. But what I realized is the fractal frame won't hold that camera. That camera needs to be mounted with it's a nano camera on the HD0 setup, so I can't run it in the fractal frame. I wish there was a fractal frame designed for that. I don't see why they couldn't do it. They just changed the TPU print to have little eyelets that wrap around the side of the camera. And then you can just run your screws in. Woo! Apparently I hit the wall. Hold on. Let me get some water. I should have maybe been screaming less during this live stream. Man dies of COVID on stream. So yeah, I'm not going to do that now. But what I'm really looking forward to doing is going there with the tiny lifters. I think those are going to be the stars of the show, because then I'll have stabilized, beautiful footage. But man, with these little tiny whoops, I'll be able to get some really cool, like, fucking acrobatic, crazy footage of those little guys. Casey Anderson says, is 2 to 4 minutes good flight time on 1S 450 mAh Tinyhawk 3 Pro because I flashed DSC to Blue Jay firmware and 48 instead of 24 or 96. Do you think I should go to 96 or keep it 48? 96 is bad in most cases. 96 sacrifices like all of your motor braking, which can cause some real problems. So 48 for smaller stuff tends to be the sweet spot, or 24. So yeah, I never recommend 96 unless all you care about is power. If all you care about is horsepower, 96 96 is the way to go. But the flight performance is really going to suffer on 96. Everywhere else, other than when you're full throttle, 96 sucks. So yeah, 48 is usually the place to be. If you have like bounce back that you can't get out, or like when you jump off the throttle, if you get like a bunch of wobbling, 24 can fix that over 48. But yeah, 48 is usually the best spot for micros. Is 2 to 4 minutes good flight time? No way for me to know that. It depends 100% on your flying style. If you're nose down, covering a lot of ground, then that's a great flight time. If you're if you're flying very slowly around like a jungle gym or something like that, that might still be okay runtime. It really just depends. There's just unfortunately no way to answer that question. A 1S 450 mAh battery is very cheap, so no reason to not buy a dozen of the damn things. And then runtime doesn't matter. As long as the motors aren't getting hot, then there's not much loss. Like, if your runtime is too low, the energy has to be going somewhere, and in electrical systems, the only source of waste is heat. So, and the motors in our electrical systems, the motors are where that happens. So, yeah, if you fly it around and you bring it back and you touch the motors and they're not boiling hot, then your runtime is what it is. The runtime is completely dependent upon the way that you're flying. It's also sort of dependent upon your motor and prop combo. If you have a drastically over-propped, like if you take an 0802 and you put it on like a quad blade 3-inch propeller, that's going to be a problem. But the motors are going to get hot in that case. Yeah, the motors are going to get hot in that case. So the motor heat is the really important thing to monitor. And as long as the motors aren't getting hot, you should not have a ton of waste. So yeah, you should be all right. Go-Kart Mozart says the video antenna is the weak point on that 75mm rig. That's what gets trashed first on mine. On this, you talking about this one, Go-Kart? You talking about the way that the antenna mounts to the canopy? Is that what you're talking about? I put a big fucking blob. I put a big blob of welder up here, and ain't nothing break like that. That is now invincible. So if that's what you're talking about, yeah, just put a big old blob of welder where that little thing is, and that should never break. I've been pounding on this one, and it is good to go. Let the welder do the work. Don't let the plastic do the work. Welder is also called E6000, and it looks like this. You can get it. It's the same thing. Beautiful stuff. This is a real, it's a real essential. Like, if you don't have it, you need it. It's, think of it like hot glue that can take temperature, so you can use it on like a VTX. Hot glue on a VTX, it'll, every time the VTX turns on and gets hot, it'll like, yeah, just make sure you give welder enough time to dry. It cures in 24 to 48 hours. Oh boy. Casey Henderson says, I'm praying for you all to get better. Thank you, brother. I'm not a religious guy, but I appreciate the sentiment. Momo Slappy says, built a baby tooth per Bob's parts list, having a weird clockwise yaw tick, very slight, like 1 degree every second, like a clock second hand. Any guys to check into? Yaw misbehavior is 99.9% of the time failing gyro, which sucks because AIOs are expensive. So yeah, there's kind of nothing else that it can be. Technically speaking, it might be too many vibrations getting into the gyro, so do the motor spin up test. Make sure none of your motor bells are out of whack. Change it to a fresh set of props. Change it to a different set of props. Some propellers are just not as well balanced as others. But yeah, most of the time that's a failing gyro, unfortunately. Ethan W says, I have some old VR006 goggles. I already answered that question, Ethan. Casey Henderson says, I have a bunch of smaller Caddx cams. Some pretty nice Junior Racer quads, work good. So we'll have all that for trade on one good setup as well. So that's what you told me in the email, Casey. Are you looking to trade me that stuff and for one good setup? Is that, I don't know what, yeah, like I didn't know what you were asking in the email. It's starting to sound like maybe you're looking to trade me that stuff. I've got tons of stuff, man. I don't really have a want or need for anything more than I've already got. So I apologize, but yeah, if there's a more specific question, definitely let me know. Tuner Taxi says, what's up? See them, you see them arms I sent a picture of them, super excited. Yeah. Tuner Taxi got a bunch of, Foxier, right? Foxier sent you a bunch of, they sent you a lot. Jesus Christ. Robert Rosser says, yo, good to see you. Great to see you. Great to see you as well, brother. Thanks for swinging by. PJ says, so we want motor lube. Here's my problem with motor lube is that, so you've got your stator, and they machine a little cup into the spacer for the bushing or the bearing to sit in. And then you've got your bushing or your bearing, and then you've got your motor shaft that goes into the center of the bushing or bearing. If you can put the motor lube exactly on in between the motor shaft and the bushing, or in between the inner and the outer race of the bearing, then the motor lube is a good thing. Even with those tiny little like needle applicator points, typically what happens is when you go to put it in there, the oil goes everywhere, and the oil can get in between the bearing or the bushing and the cup of the stator. And that's not great, because what can then happen is the bearing or the bushing can start rotating in the stator. And that's bad. That's a much worse situation to be in than having the the bearing get a little bit dry, or the bushing's interaction between the motor shaft getting a little bit dry. They are like pre-lubed from the factory. The bearings will typically have a thicker grease on the inside, and the bearings really typically don't need to ever be serviced. If a bearing does need to be serviced, you'll hear it. It'll start making noises. And in that case, sometimes adding a little bit of lube can kind of help it out. The problem is all these lubes are very thin, and our motors spin at 11 billion RPM. So the first time you spin your motor up with it, fucking just fires the lube everywhere. So I don't know. I've done it in the past. I've had motors that I've had rigs that I've crashed into really fine dust, and it gets in the bearings, and the bearings start to make awful noises. And in that case, I'll put some in there. So it's nice to have it for if you have a bearing, if you spin a motor and it's making high-pitched noises. It's good for that. I would not recommend taking every single one of your rigs and lubing the shit out of the motors. Because the other thing that happens is once you put that lube in there, it's gonna hold on to dirt. So it's going to be great for a couple of batteries, but the first time you crash it into some place that's dusty or dirty or whatever, that dirt is going to stick to that lube, and then it's going to try to get all up in there. So I don't play that game anymore, unless the bearings or the bushings are starting to make some wacky high-pitched noises, and then I'll do it as a last resort. Corner says, what's your opinion about the 1S7... Shit balls. I'm gonna get caught up on chat, and I'm gonna shut this thing down so I don't die. What's your opinion about the 1S 75mm HD0 Whoop from Happy Model? My opinion is it's too heavy. The biggest problem, well, it depends. Depends on what you want to do with it. If you want to fly inside the house, you want the 65mm version because it's lighter, period. If you want to fly long range, technically, that Mobula 7 is the 75 is better than the 65, but don't fly a Tinywhoop long range. Build a toothpick to fly long range. It's going to perform 1,000 times better. It's the right tool for the job. If you want a cinematic rig to do cinematic stuff with it, the 75 millimeter is going to have a lot more prop guard in frame, in the frame of your camera. And that's usually a deal breaker for cinematic stuff. So the 65 millimeter rig kind of wins there as well. I have a really hard time finding anything that the 75 millimeter rigs do better than the 65 millimeter rigs. Now that we have 30,000 and 28,500 kV motors available to us, which make plenty of power. So yeah, I think 65s are better 99% of the time. PJ says, would I get more capacity / run? The 75 millimeter rigs are for runtime. The 75 millimeter rigs will give you more runtime if you care about that. You should not care about that though, because Tinywhoop batteries are hideously inexpensive, and buy a whole bunch, and then you can have a rig that flies better. You'll spend an extra $20 on batteries, and that's it. So, yeah. But if for some strange reason runtime is all that matters, the 75 millimeter rigs will definitely do a better job with runtime. PJ asks, would I get more capacity runtime using the 2S 3000 mAh battery packs in my transmitter versus 2500 mAh 18650s in parallel? Also, what kind of pack powering 2 to 6S goggles? Runtime is specifically based off of milliamp hours. So whatever you need to do to get more milliamp hours, that's going to give you more runtime, period. It doesn't matter if it's an 18650 or a LiPo or whatever. Milliamp hours is runtime, like the end. With 2S, oh no, you said in parallel. Yeah, so so yeah, a 2S 3000 will always run longer than a 2500 mAh anything in parallel, as long as there's two of them. I'm assuming when you say 2500 mAh 18650 in parallel, I'm assuming that you mean two 18650s. So yeah, it's just total, it's all about the total milliamp hours. If you start to get into like 1S versus 2S versus 3S, you're talking about a transmitter, and it's not going to pull hard enough to have any real waste. So you're just going to do the multiplication. So a 2S 3000 is the same thing as a 1S 6000, which is the same thing as a 3S. I'll skip 3S and go to 4S because it's easier math. 4S 1500. So yeah, you just do the math for total watt hours, and watt hours are watt hours. Same exact answer for goggles. Whatever says, can't do super chat as it won't accept my credit card. I broke my ceramic antenna on my Hobby 7 ELRS. Tried to resolder it to the same pad, but it doesn't react to inputs. I'm a shit out of luck. Nope, there's 4 pads. Whatevs. I've done this repair twice in the live stream if you want to watch it, but there's no real reason to. Oh, you're trying to resolder your ceramic antenna? Nah, get rid of the ceramic antenna. Take an old FR Sky receiver with an antenna on it. So FR Sky has been 2.4 forever. So all of their antennas are tuned for 2.4. So take one of your old antennas. An antenna is going to have a black section and then like a silver section. The black section is shielded, nothing happens. The silver section is what's doing all the work. Cut the silver section off as close to the black as possible and solder that to one of those 4 pads. One of those 4 pads is active, the other 3 are ground. One of those 4 pads will work, and you will actually get better performance with your janky little antenna solution than the little ceramic antenna. Like I said, I've done that repair twice here on the live stream. I don't know which live streams those are, but it's infinitely easy. If you don't have one of those antennas lying around, you can go on Amazon and just search for FR Sky replacement antennas or 2.4 gigahertz replacement antennas, and you can get a dozen of them. But yeah, one of those 4 pads will work. A Cable says, looking like Stevie Wonder. It's true. Ethan W says, Ethan W is asking the same question over and over again. Stop it, Ethan. Stop it. I already answered it. Michael D says, I learned last week that even though I'm on the $5 a month Patreon, I could increase it to $10 but still be on the $5 tier, so I did. I think I knew that. That's cool of you, Michael D. Thank you for that. I think I knew that you could do that. Speaking of, hey, we've had one new patron for every single live stream for the past like week and a half. Don't let the streak end. Obviously, by my coughing, I'm about to die, so I need to get health insurance. So give me 10 cents a day, damn you! I swear to God, you'll get way more than $3 a month worth of chocolatey goodness from joining the Patreon. So somebody that's not on it already, go join it, please, please. I will actually die. If you don't join, not if you join. You don't have to worry about killing me if you do join. Unless you want me to, then maybe I will. You never know. Right 9 with a 10 Australian dollar super chat. Thank you, homie. He says, can't do super chat as it will. Did somebody else just ask the exact same question? I think right 9, do you have 2 accounts? Yeah. I think Right 9's got 2 different accounts. You're not shit out of luck, brother. You're good to go. Just find yourself an antenna floating around. Abraham says, you wouldn't believe how long it took me to cobble together a solution for those wheels. I started to look into like changing wheels and shit on mine. And I very quickly was like, no, not going down that road. It was like just involved enough where I'm like, this will turn into a nightmare. This will be bad. So yeah, I'm not going down that. Not going down that road. Maybe I'll paint these wheels black at some point, but that's about it. Jason Crabtree says, had a blast the other day flying my Mobby 6 around a bunch of 1/10 scale rock crawlers. Ended up with a couple of clips that were very hard to tell that they weren't real crawlers. Very cool, Jason. That's some shit that I want to start doing, man. I really do. Abraham says, plus Jesse puts Easter eggs all over his site. You can find random free stickers and stuff all the time. Very, 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 very true, Abraham. Yeah, Jesse has all kinds of cool shit buried on his website. So going through his website item by item by item is really fun. Bozadar says, maybe we could play Velocidrone, a little bit of combat. No, I'm gonna I just don't feel good. I'm gonna wrap this up when I'm caught up on chat. Sorry, brother. There's Ethan W asking the same question again. Espander says, have you seen the layer of dust? That's the name of my combat mode quad in Velocidrone. To be honest, I just, the last bunch of times that I've been in Velocidrone, it just hasn't been super fun. You guys want to see it though, so we'll do it next Sunday. Next Sunday will be a Sim Sunday, and I should be feeling better by then. Michael D says, that reminds me, did you ever do the K-Truck chase with the bottom-mounted 360 Go? I don't remember seeing a stream with it since you said about doing it when you got the K-Truck. So I don't have a way of mounting the 360 Go 2 on the bottom of anything currently. Previously, Previously, the way that we hung the Insta360 Go 1, which I sold mine, was you had to run a NewBeeDrone cockroach frame because it had these little hooks on the bottom. And then NewBeeDrone had a specific little 3D printed sling. So 2 problems. I don't have any Tinywhoops that are on the cockroach frame at the moment. 3 problems, actually. Problem number 2 is that I don't have the little sling that's big enough for the Insta360 Go 2. The third problem is the biggest problem, which is that the cockroach frame with those hooks is only a 65mm rig. The Insta360 Go 1 was 18 grams, and my God, did the 65mm rigs have a hard time picking that 18-gram camera up. The Insta360 Go 2 is 26 grams. We do have higher KV motors now than we did back then, but the battery runtime is going to be absolutely awful. So I don't think that the Insta360 Go 2 on a 65 millimeter Tinywhoop is a real solution. I mean, like, it's probably going to be less than 1 minute runtime. That is going to really beat on these batteries. And somebody's going to have to make me the bigger TPU sling, and I'm going to have to build a rig specifically for it in a cockroach frame. I don't really use the cockroach frames anymore. So, I think the tiny lifters with the top mounted Insta360 Go 2 are going to be the setup. The other thing about the bottom slung one, it flies really bad. Like, having all that weight down really low, it wants to like pendulum, and like, man, it flies bad. And like when you try to fly it low to the ground, the camera catches on the ground, and then it won't really turtle mode back up and over, and it's really hard to take off. It's a real motherfucker to fly that thing around. It was kind of amazing that I was able to get any footage with it. So I'm hoping to go shoot the drift cars. I'm gonna bring the tiny lifters. I'm gonna bring all the Tinywhoops, and we'll see. We'll talk about it on stream, of course, and we'll see what the best footage is. For all I know, the coolest footage might be analog, because I'll be 10 feet away from myself, so the video signal will be great. It looks pretty damn good through the power play. It'll be 60 frames a second, which is kind of crazy. And this thing flies so good that I'll be able to like really get up in on the action, probably do some crazy, wacky, acrobatic shit like we do with real drift cars. So, or maybe the Mobula 6 HD0 is the hotness, you know, have a little bit of HD action. We'll see. I'm just going to go and do it with the stuff that I have now. And we'll see. We'll see what the... it'll be... I would love to, like... It would be cool to mix a bunch of the footage in. But that's gonna be a tough mix, because the Insta360 Go 2 footage is going to look beautiful. And then if I try to pepper in like analog or even HD0 footage, it's going to be like, what is this fucking AIDS in my eyes? So realistically, I think it's going to be all tiny lifter all the time, which is fine. Those things boogie. Those things they're pretty hot, boy. EVFPV's in the house. What's up? Steady Eddie says, I have HD0 and an 85X frame with a stretched canopy, puts the cam way forward. No props in view. By the way, I have the same lingering cough. 85X frame with a stretched canopy. That's interesting. That's probably pretty heavy, right, Steady Eddie? What do you got that on, like 1103s? Tommy Brickler says, just bought Weebly 28,000 motors for a 65mm whoop. What props should I try first? The only props that you should run on those 0702s are the Gemfan biblades. All other propellers are too much. I mean, you could technically run the HQ biblades, but they're not nearly as good. So, yeah, there's no reason to run anything other than the Gemfan biblades. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, because I know that's kind of boring, but the 0702s are not a big enough motor for anything tri or quad blade. So, yeah, Gemfan biblades, and just focus on flying it. Casey Henderson says, yes, I need one good remote, one set of goggles, and one good quad, because I have a few 5-inch parts and stuff, like I told you in the email, but that's all in terms of a good freestyle setup from above. Yeah, sorry, brother. I don't, like, all the stuff that I have, like, I use. I don't really, like, sell stuff typically. Like, I have a couple super weird random things that occasionally I'll sell, but, like, yeah, I don't just like have stuff. Yeah, being full-time FPV, you make hardly any money. So I have as little stuff as possible. I know you see a lot of shit on the wall back behind me, but yeah, it's mainly because I've been into the game for almost 7 years now. But yeah, I don't really have anything that I can like hook you up with. Sorry, brother. Word FPV says, can you please tell me how I can get the flutter out of my glide all up with GoPro 9 equals, whoa, 819 grams. That's the first thing I would fix, is the all up weight. That's way too heavy. Without GoPro 657, just got home and couldn't figure it out in the field today. I appreciate any help. Thank you. To troubleshoot, we would need to have like a one-on-one conversation for 15, 20, 30 minutes. If you want to do that, you can certainly buy half an hour of my time over on Fiverr. That is what I can tell you, though, is that is way, 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 way too heavy for the glide frame. So that's the first thing that I would start to kind of take a look at. That frame is just meant to be lightweight. You want to be like 600 to 650 grams all up weight. That's the right weight for the glide. I don't really know what flutter means. Like, flutter could mean something completely different to everybody. But when you're troubleshooting a problem, the best and the most important thing to do is to think back to when the problem started, because what happened right before the problem started is what caused the problem. So if last time that you were out flying, you stacked it into a dumpster at 140 miles an hour, there's the problem. You bent a motor, you bent propellers, you delaminated an arm, you broke an arm, screws started to back out. On my Patreon, under Tech Tips, there's an article about troubleshooting motor heat. That article takes you with a step-by-step process from the most commonly occurring things to the least commonly occurring things. And motor heat is caused by too many vibrations. I'm going to take a big guess that your flutter is potentially also from too many vibrations. Most of the time, the problems with our rigs are being caused by too many vibrations. So that article over on my Patreon page will have a flow chart for you, basically step by step by step. I kind of just gave it to you. Bent propellers, banged up motors, arms that are broken or delaminated, screws that are loosening themselves up. Those are the four main things. But the most important thing is to think back to when this behavior started and what happened right before that behavior started. That's the problem right there. If you cranked your PID gains way the hell up and then the problem started, turn them back down. So yeah, that's the best that I can do with like pretty much no information. If you want to do a proper one-on-one troubleshoot, we're going to have to do it through a Skype or a Zoom call, which I would love to do. I'd love to work with all you guys one-on-one. The folks that have hired me to do that have absolutely loved it, and a lot of them will come back for a second session, third session, fourth, fifth. Hell, some folks would have booked me out like Wednesday at 3:00 every single week for months and months and months. So yeah, it's the best I can do. Word. Right. YouTube did the thing. Where did it get? There we go. Riot9 says I super chatted for him because I'm a rich ass ball. Nice. Very cool of you, Riot9. Very, very cool. Michael D says, bottom mount on a lifter. So there's, I assume you mean on the tiny lifters. There's no provisions on the bottom to do it because there's a battery down there. The bottom of the tiny lifters is designed for a battery to be put through there. So yeah, there's just, and then another battery goes, one battery goes there, and then the other battery goes in here, like that. So yeah, there's really no way to hang it off the bottom. I guess technically speaking, I could try to get a big ass rubber band, and like run the rubber band down up and through there, and then maybe the rubber band would be long enough. But the problem's going to be the Insta360 Go 2 is smooth all around. It's smooth on the bottom, so like it's going to want to move all around. And I mean, like I guess after I put the battery in, I could then put like a a piece of grip here or something, but then every single time I change batteries, I'd have to pull the grip off, and then it would get the batteries all gummed up, and they already have a hard time. I already have a hard time fitting them through here. Sorry guys, I was off camera like that entire time. Yeah, this guy is like smooth here. So yeah, it would just. I really try to not have like setups that are kind of janky, because it really pisses me off. And like, you know, the camera moves around, the camera falls off, and like I just get so angry. So yeah, one of my like requirements for the tiny lifters were having a good proper 3D printed, like very specific way of mounting the Insta360 Go that was solid and repeatable, and I'm not gonna have jello issues, and it's not gonna be a train wreck. Which is, I don't know, sometimes I should probably relax and just have janky setups, but I don't know, it just drives me nuts having like setups that are barely working. And there are like, trying to not have jello is a real struggle with these smaller HD cameras. So when you have like a janky setup, jello is a thing that pops up like right fucking away. And then it's just like, oh, all that flying that I did was all worthless because it's because the rig was Michael J. Foxing all over the place. Is that funny or tasteless? I never know. Too soon? Definitely not too soon. Compost Pile says, has there been any plans to add Tiny Lifter to the shopping list? What do you mean by shopping list, Compost Pile? You mean like my description? I didn't even think about it. Although the Tiny Lifter it's just, you can just buy it. Like you can just come onto, I mean, not exactly, but you can just come into here and they sell a Cockroach 75. Yeah, so you can just buy this. Here it is. Acro B75 2S. So this pretty much is a Tiny Lifter. Different motors, which is kind of a nightmare. Well, no. Okay, no. It's not a nightmare anymore. So you're going to have to buy it with these stupid motors. It'll actually work. You could totally run it on these motors. But if you want much better performance, you're going to buy it, and then you're going to buy the 1102s, the new NewBeeDrone Flow 1102s. Where the hell are they? Well, hell, you could even do these 12. Nah, these are not 3 screw mount base. You need the 1102s for that. Don't buy these. Oh, wait, no. Don't buy the 0804s. They're no good. Where are the 1102s, yo? There they are. Yeah, in 10,000 kV. So you get these motors, and then you get those guys, and then for propellers, just get them all. Don't get them all. For propellers, you want 1.5 millimeter shaft, and you want, why do they not go below 2 inch? So you might as well get a set of the Azzies that are sold out. Never mind. Here you go. Get a set of these Gemfan bi-blades. Those will be your long runtime propellers. And then get a set of... Really? You don't sell them? NewBeeDrone, come on. Well, you're going to have to do 2 orders. I mean, those bi-blades will work. Those bi-blades will definitely work. But even better than those bi-blades are 1.5 millimeter shaft tri and quad blades. So these 1636 quad blades, and then these 1635 tri blades. But this is the 1 millimeter shaft version. You want the 1.5 millimeter shaft version, which is, nope, that's 0.8 millimeters. It's in here somewhere. I'm just missing it. So yeah, Gemfan Bi-blade, tri-blade, and quad blade, and then you can pick which ones you like the best. Quad blade is going to be the quietest, tri-blade is somewhere in the middle, bi-blade is the longest runtime but the loudest. And that's it. I mean, that's the Tiny Lifter. It's there's no real reason to build it. You can just buy it. Although I do have it on BT 2.0. So you are going to have to buy a pack of, you don't have to, but you should buy a pack of BT 2.0 leads and solder them on. It's not the end of the world. You can do it. Michael D says, thank you for another informative stream. Go take care of yourself. Have a good evening. I mentioned this in the last stream. Like, I'm sick of taking care of myself. I'm sick of, like, resting. I'm sick of fucking laying around and waiting for this to goddamn go away. I want to work. Like, I want to stream. I want to do this. I want to build shit. Has nobody called this out? Nobody cares why this is sitting on the workbench in the area that I work on stuff? Shame. Shame. Shameful. This is my 3-inch frame that Ryan Harrell designed for me. And I'm gonna finally be building it because I got the other, like, really high priority stuff done that has been holding me up from building this. And so yeah, it's time to build this. It's gonna get built with HD0 actually, because I've got the HD0 shit already going, and I've got this 20x20 HD0 200 milliwatt VTX that's just been sitting around, and I've got one of the V1 cameras that kind of sucks, but the whole point of me building this up is to smash the living hell out of it, so I won't feel bad destroying this camera, and I also won't feel bad potentially destroying this VTX. So yeah, the first one of these that I build is going to be on HD0 because I want to spend some more time with HD0 checking out the latency and the, yeah, I mean, it's just HD0 is really cool for what it is. And for a rig that I'm not going to put a Runcam hybrid into, it's what I think is sort of the best bet to have in there. I'm going to be putting this on the OG RCX 1304s since it's going to be nice and lightweight, no HD camera. I want a motor that's going to suit that best. Plus, these are the most durable micro motors that I've ever found, and I have a shitload of them. So yeah, I'm going to hopefully kill some of these RCX 1304s. So yeah, that's what's going to be going down soon. Maybe we'll do some work on it tomorrow night, maybe Wednesday night, maybe Friday. We'll see. Casey Sanderson says, well, I have an amazing setup thanks to Joshua, but I'm still working on a freestyle build and really can't wait to complete it. So yeah, I figured I'd ask. Nice, brother. Keep going. Just keep building. Just keep building. It's like fucking Finding Nemo, man. Just keep swimming. Danzilla the Terrible says, you need a 3D printer to design your own mounts. Join us in the rabbit hole. No chance. No chance. I don't have enough time for what I'm doing as it is. I can't add anything else that'll eat up more time. 661 and CMYK talking about this this little fella. All right, friends. Skate Freak, if you want to talk directly to me, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. When you do that, it lights up an orange. I don't know that you're talking to me, but it looks like you're asking me a question. Usually, like when you guys don't tag me, I assume that you're talking amongst yourselves in chat, which is an amazing thing to do because the guys that hang out in my chat are just and girls are super talented, amazing, awesome folks. That you're already starting to get answers to your question. But since I have a feeling that you meant to ask me that question, what do you recommend for indoor whooping? Beta 65 Meteor, Mobula 7, and Mobula 6 ELRS. Currently have a Mobula 7. If you head on so I've done a bunch of work with Joshua on his website, FPV Know-It-All. Or if you just watch any of my Whoop Wednesday live streams from the last like 6 months, I've been pretty much constantly talking about, and refining the best indoor freestyle Tinywhoop. It really depends on what you want. Me personally, yeah, right. Nine says we answer the question 45 minutes before Ciotti. Yeah, it's very true. Me personally, what I want from a Tinywhoop is to be able to fly hard inside the house. I want like full three-dimensionality. I want to be able to do Matty flips, power loops, like inverted stalls, everything. I want like the full fucking FPV flight experience, but in the house. And the only way that I've found to do that is this cheap/easy build, is what I called it on Joshua's page. Mobula 6 ELRS, Meteor 65 frame, Singularity antenna if you want slightly better video, but you can skip that if you want to save 20 bucks. BT 2.0 for sure. The folded cell batteries, the WeBleeds are my favorites, but you can also get them from Tattoo or even tinywhoop.com. They're BT 2.0. And then if you're going to stick with the motors that this thing comes with, you want to go with either the GemFan biblades or the GemFan tri-blades. The motors that this Mobula 6 ELRS comes with are 0702 26,000 kV. An even better setup, if you have like an extra 40 bucks, is the WeBleed FPV 0702 28,500 kV motors, or at some point, tinywhoop.com will have their 0702 30,000 kV motors back in stock. If you go to those motors, you're going to run the biblades. Don't run the HQ biblades. They suck donkeys. The GemFan biblades are what you want for sure. And that's it. That's the whole build. It's very cheap. It's very easy. Thus, it being called the cheap and easy build over on Joshua's website. So yeah, this is what I personally fly. I have like either 2 or 3 of these things built at any given time. And yeah, like I said, if you hit any Whoop Wednesday stream from the last like 6 months, there's tons of me talking about these, flying these, banging them around the house. The performance is absolutely mind-blowing, and they're incredibly durable when you set them up like this. There is, and I've tried everything else, like actually everything else. And like, if this rig is here, everything else is down here. Like, there is absolutely no competition whatsoever to this specific build. And it's just it's a Mobula 6 ELRS with a couple of parts thrown at it. Make sure that you get the Mobula 6 ELRS with the 26,000 kV motors. KV is everything on these Tinywhoops. 20,000 kV, 22,000 kV, bullshit. Like garbage. 26,000 kV is absolutely bare minimum. Any less than that, and it's a little RC car. Like, and it's just a completely different, it's you're Tinywhooping. You're not flying FPV. When you get these higher KV motors, you're actually flying FPV. You can hurl the thing up in the air. You can do inverted stalls. You can do power loops, Matty flips, all the things. It makes a huge difference. Fun Per Volt says, have several Happy Model AIOs SPI on 4.3 that won't bind on FreeSky D8. Thoughts? Oh, man, I only got into the Happy Model stuff with ELRS. So I actually have no idea. I think I had one FreeSky Happy Model AIO, and it failed like really quickly. And I was like, oh, this Happy Model stuff sucks. But yeah, the ELRS Happy Model stuff has been like hysterically durable. So I don't know, Fun Per Volt. That's, I also haven't screwed around with binding FrSky in, good Lord, years? Literally years? Figuratively years? Yeah, I don't even remember. Is it, maybe try it on D16? I don't know, man. I'm sorry. There's tons of YouTube videos about binding FrSky, though. So you should be able to do a couple of YouTube searches and find your answer pretty quick. There's probably YouTube videos how to bind that exact AIO. Bozadar says, great next Sunday. I wish you all a speedy recovery. Get well, dear. Skate Freak says, thank you. You're certainly welcome. Michael D says, looks like RDQ, Get FPV only have the Mobula 6 in 19,000 kV. Well, I mean, to be honest, the 26,000 kV motors are pretty good, but the Weebleed 28,500s and the Tinywhoop 30,000s are significantly better. So, yeah, buy it in 19,000 kV. And what's nice is they're 19,000 kV 0702s, and they share the exact same bells with the Tinywhoop and the Weebleed FPV motors. So those motors that Mobula 6 ELRS is going to come with, you're just getting 4 spare bells. And then when you get the proper motors, if you bend a motor shaft, you can pop the C-clip, swap the bells out from your 19,000s that it came with, and away you go. So yeah, that's your setup. This is my full-time job. If you like this content and want to see it continue, head on over to CiottiFPV.com. There's a million ways that you can support me. Affiliate links don't cost you anything, and they're stupidly easy to do. You can even replace your bookmarks to Weebleed FPV and Flywoo and NewBeeDrone and Get FPV with my affiliate link, and then you don't even have to think about it. If you type, like what I do when I go to a website, right? If I go to Get FPV, I just type Get, and then it just suggests Get FPV, and I just hit enter. You can actually like type Get, and then off on the right, you can actually X this out, and then like I'll X this one. Well, no, so this is actually my affiliate link. So if you X out like the main suggestion for Get FPV, and then you head over to, and then you head over to CiottiFPV, and if you just like hit my Get FPV affiliate link once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, your browser will see you going to that link over and over again. And then when you type Get in, it'll actually, well, it's doing it again. But there it goes. It'll eventually suggest my affiliate link. And then you don't even have to think about it. Every time you go to Get FPV, there it is. Now it's doing it. Every time you go to Get FPV, it'll use my affiliate link. So you can just type Get and return, and it'll go to my affiliate link. And you can do that for all these beautiful websites, and then it's free money. That's all you have to do. And then I get a small percentage of your order total, and then I use that money to keep doing what I'm doing here. Weebleed FPV, NewBeeDrone, FPV Cycle, Amazon, literally Amazon, like actually Amazon, Get FPV, Oh My God's website, Flywoo, Banggood, Camera Butter, AliExpress. Look at all those affiliate links. Also, if you really want all the goodness, my Patreon is the spot that you want to be in. Lots and lots and lots of really good stuff over there. Some stickers and random hardware on Etsy. Fiverr for working directly with me one-on-one. Flight instruction, tuning, build planning. Stop buying stuff that blows up. I will tell you what stuff doesn't blow up and save you money and time. Shirts and random stuff on Teespring has this beautiful tote bag. I swear to God, you're going to love my tote bag. It's just really nice to have. And it's really strong canvas, so you can put propellers in it and they won't like stab holes in it. Get you a tote bag. I don't make hardly any money off of the tote bags. I just want you to have it because it's like, it's just great to have. If you do those things, I'll keep doing this and we'll hang out together forever. Love you guys. Here comes some flying. I'm gonna play that Jungle Gym 65mm Tinywhoop video because my God was I on fire for parts of that. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern. My name's Aaron Ciotti. I was gonna say something just awful, but I won't. Love you guys. Hold on, let me get some music for this. I was gonna say, go fuck yourself, San Diego. From Anchorman. There we go. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Go fuck yourself, San Diego. Love you.